Alright guys, so this part of the stream is going to be going onto YouTube. It is a series that I've been thinking about doing for a while, which is around how to best play on your free rune removal day, which obviously only comes once a month unless you do buy a free rune removal ticket. So, the best advice I can give to anyone that is relatively new to the game is to take advantage of that one day that you get free per month. You can actually do so much on that one day to be able to optimize your account, as long as you do it, as long as you approach it the right way with the right mindset. Free rune removal day for me isn't just one day a month. I spend probably the week leading up to it to really think about what changes I want to make. Lo and behold, outside of when I'm playing RTA and I'm thinking about what units I want to build for the next month, when I'm really thinking about what else I really want to focus on moving forward, I spend the time the week leading up to it to really start doing what I need to do in the optimizing tool. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the Summoner's War Optimizer. I've done a video on that before about how to set it up and how to use it. But effectively, I use that to do all my planning. I started using the optimizing tool back in the day when I was working full-time and playing sports full-time, and really trying to find gaps in my schedule where I could prioritize looking at my Summoner's War account and then building it from there. So what I ended up doing was I would spend maybe an hour or two a day leading up to it, leading up to the free rune removal day, to be able to do everything that I needed to do. Prioritizing units, prioritizing runes, building my teams, and then going from there. So it is a timely process if you are trying to get the best outcomes. And sometimes the effort requirements month on month aren't as big because you've done a really big change the month before. So it really comes down to how much effort are you willing to put in to see the improvements that you want to see in your account. It doesn't come down to, it doesn't really come down to, you know, I didn't get as many runes that I could keep, that I could utilize on my account. It doesn't really come down to just looking at it from that point of view, but it really comes down to looking at what runes do I currently have on units that don't really need them, and then finding the right balance in your account. Now, this guide that I'm going to be working on, this is the Twitch version of it. I'll be doing a YouTube specific one as well, which will be really squeezed together, but the Twitch component will be me going through showing you examples of how I would approach my account development. And you guys might want to do it yourself this way, or you might be able to branch off and create your own ideas from this. So hopefully you guys find this useful. It may take a bit of time to go through all this, so we'll end up seeing how it goes. So step one for me is really thinking about what my priorities are. What am I trying to achieve with this free rune removal day? What do I want to get out of it? Where do I want to see improvements in my account, and how can I improve it for the next month's FRR? Like, what can I do thinking forward? What does my account essentially need for me to take that next step? So I start going through it all and then having a look and seeing what changes do I have to make to be able to get my account to that level. I'm starting to process all that in my head as I go through this process. So step one, what I usually do is take an extract of my Summoner's War account. So I use the Summoner's War exporter to get the JSON file of my account, and I load it onto the optimizer, and I start trying to build my teams that I want to prioritize. Now I'll show you guys how you can do that yourself as well. Let me just pull it up on the screen right now. Let me see if I can grab. Alright, does that look clear enough on the screen? Alright, I think I can make this. Yeah, that's the full length of it, okay? Alright, so hopefully that looks clear enough on your screen. So this is the website version of the Summoner's War Optimizer tool. What I would start off with when you're building your teams, or when you're trying to start thinking about what you need to build, is use this priority list, right? So the first thing I did was load my JSON file onto the optimizer, and then I go through and I look at the weighting of each of these and think, and then have a look and think if I think that's reasonable and in line with what I want it to be. My priorities on my account would be RTA. So RTA is down here. So the highest weighting is 10. That's fine. My next priority would be my Guild War defense or siege defense. So I'm gonna put RTA to 20. And then Siege defense of 15. Arena defense, Guild War defense of 15. That's fine. Offense, Siege offense, Guild War offense. 10-10 is perfectly fine. Arena offense of 10 is fine. Then following that would be my PvP content. So I would put Dragons higher. I'd probably put Dragons at 8. Giants and Necro at 4 is fine because I don't really plan on farming those. TOA I don't really care about, so 1's fine. Raid team 1 and 2. I mean, they can both be on 5. I'd prioritize raids over my Giants and Necro. Because, I mean, Giants and Necro are pretty easy to get to 1 minute times with my account, so I'm not too worried about that. And then the rest of the rifts I'm not too worried about. They are what they are. Essentially, I'll just throw any units in there and see if it works. So my main priority that I would start thinking about on my account always is around RTA and how I can improve moving forward. So I'll start picking units that I want to start building for RTA this upcoming month. Then outside of that, I'll start looking at what I can run on my defenses for Guild War and Siege defenses. Then I'll look at my Siege offenses or Guild War offenses and Arena offenses, all that sort of stuff outside of that. And then after all that, will I start focusing on running a, all my other teams will be running sub 1 minute in Giants and Dragons and Necro. And then R5 is essentially probably the safest team. I can't build a Cat R5 yet. I mean, I could, but I'm choosing not to. Mainly because I don't want to rune prioritize that way just yet. I'm content with running 1 minute 30 teams when I'm running 2 teams in public R5. So for me personally, my priority is RTA. So what you'd start doing first is you would go through each of these. I'll start off with my most important, which would be RTA. And then it'll tell me to search and add monsters. So now, what monsters am I going to be playing with RTA this season? Let's just talk about let's start picking the units which are currently in the meta quite heavily right now. I'm going to say Fran as one. Verd as another. For me, I like running my Tessarion. Aegar. Vanessa. Okeanos. Perna. Jean. Tiana. What else would I run? Triana. What would be my monsters outside of that? Probably Molong. We can throw up a few other monsters. What other monsters do you guys want to see in this list? And I might actually try... we'll leave it there. We'll go with this. As you can see, I got 22 monsters that I would like to use for RTA. It's probably too long of a list, to be real. If I tried to rune all 22 with my best runes, I would be spreading my runes really badly. So it's all about trying to decide what your core team is. So I'd get this list and go, what would be the key units I would like to run? And then give those guys the rune priority and then build the others outside of it. So build like a tier list of your monsters from here. So that'll be the RTA units. I'm just going to have a scan through. One last scan through to make sure. The last one actually will be Volvik. And probably Vestet. Yeah, that would be it. So 24 monsters. Alright, then the next focus for me would be, let's say, Guild War defense, right? My Guild War defense right now is like Jean, Chandra, Perna. And then I would go, my second one is like, what do we want it to be now? What do we want to set this one to be? We'll just say, Zing, Jay, Theo, Harmonia. Right? The standard sort of defenses you see nowadays. Okay, that's my Guild War defenses. Then we'll go then to Siege defenses. I'll say the same defense again. Jean, Chandra, Perna, Zing. Oh no, I'll go Theo. Actually, yeah, Zing, Theo, Harmonia. Then we'll have Kamoon, Better. Excuse me? That's what I type. Better. Darian. Then we'll have... I don't have a Skogul yet, so I can't put the Skogul one up there. Otherwise, I won't show Skogul. Commune Better Darien. We'll go... What do I run with my hot dam right now? Garo. Hot dam. Raisvelg. Molong. Molong. I can't get Perna. Molong, Ritesh. Molong, Ritesh what? No, it's actually Jean. Jean Molong. Perna. And then we'll have Molong 2. Platy. And Ritesh. But as you guys can see what it's doing for me, it's giving me a score. And it's telling me the ranking of your rune priority. Who should get your runes in terms of this order. But obviously you'll know that like this will be the overall list. But what you'll need to also do is you'll need to break it down to another level where you need to think about what rune sets will go in these units as well. Okay, so there's multiple levels of thinking you need to do here to be able to really get the outcome you want. So this is just a starting point. But like when I go through this list, I'll go, okay, who gets violent runes, who gets despair, who gets swift, who gets vampire, blah, 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 blah. And you talk about your 4 sets and your 2 sets, and then you talk about the rune priorities that way as well. It's a pretty good tool to be able to find out what your priorities should be. You can even use this to be able to... Yeah, some units you can go stats over sets as well. But you can use this to be able to even theory craft what sort of defenses you want to run as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be what you've previously run before, but I like to have my game screen next to me as I'm going through this, and I can create those defenses, see how it goes. Do I still hang in channel 19? Yes, I'm in there right now, Zunda. So yeah, we're just trying to figure out, like, you know, what other defenses can you run? And you start throwing it into this list and then going from there. And then what you'll do is you go through each of these segments. It'll even tell you in brackets how many monsters you put into each. And then you can go through and start allocating your monsters. So like for here it'd be like Galleon, Tiana, both Tianas. Actually both Galleons as well actually. And then we'll have like Zyros, Tail, Lucian, all 3, Bastet, Sierra. Then there'll be like Fengyan, Messity, Bulldozer. So you'll start collating your list, right? It'll start putting your monsters in order. It'll even tell you up here what ranking they are. And you can go that way as well. So how many offenses is that? I'll put 14 monsters, so that's not even 5 teams yet. Okay, it's because I didn't put like Tion, Frigate. Those are my main offenses, though. That covers off a lot of my offenses right there. I don't really go too much more than this. 15 teams. The rest, there's a little bit extra now, but yeah. This is the teams I usually build around. The slow Lucian is usually with my Tion Frigate, and then my second Lucian is only if I need to use him. But yeah, that's how it usually gets built. I know that's only 5 teams. The other 5 I run is like my Molong, Perna, Diana. What else would I run? Hold on, I'm just starting another run on the side here. I would run another Molong, Harmonia, and then probably like a Theo. And then I'll have like a Tessa, Chisoon, Wusa. So how many offenses is that? That's 25 monsters. Let's get rid of Lucian number 2 so I get the right number. So we're at 24, so that's 8 teams right there. 8 teams right there, quite easy. Two more teams would be like... Hopefully sooner or later we get to put Gani on that list. Yeah. I don't know if I'll use Gani in Siege offense, but yeah. I wrote down Gani. I was meant to say Garo. Actually, no, I lie. It's not Garo. I go Triana, Sabrina, Shiner. And I also go another Shiner, another Sabrina with the Huadam. Those are my offenses usually. Those are my teams. I don't usually venture too much further outside of that. They're pretty safe in most cases. Okay, so we're happy with the Siege offenses. We've got our defenses. Guild War offense, I don't usually fill this in because it is essentially my Siege offenses that I would eventually use anyway. So I'll leave that alone. But then I'll start thinking about what do I want my Dragons team to be. So I kind of want my Dragons team to be, all my Dungeon teams to be all the same. I want to go double Lucian. I want to go Kali. Kali? No, we just want to go Shiner, Sabrina, ×2. We're going to go with that team. Or something like that. If not, if I don't go double Lucian, I'll go Shiner, Sabrina, and I would go in here Kali. I know that'll be a safe team. That team would work pretty much 100%. And in case I want to back up, I'll throw my Verdi Hill in here. Just in case. Giants would be double Lucian, Sabrina, and probably not Shiner, Talia. And then Necro would be the same as well. One Sabrina, but double Shiner actually. That would be my teams. TOA for me that I've been running has been Bastet, Jean, Shiner, Maruna, Rika. That's my TOA team. Arena defense. What should my defense be? Let's say Samath. Kuma. Jean. Tiana. Let's say that for now, right? Nah, that seems too easy. Let's go with Kuma. Let's go Vanessa. Triana. Jean. And let's say Ritesh. Don't worry about too much about offenses for now, I don't think. For me personally, I'm not going to worry about HAH or Farmer or Rep. They're very strange ones to have there. I'm not too worried about specifically what Rift Beast teams I'm going to run. Most of them run Triple S anyway after I ruined them from my other settings, but you could use this if you're new. If you are starting to move into your Rift Beasts. My raid teams are right now Annabelle, Darian, Bastet. Oh no, Bastet's not in this team. Colleen, sorry, Colleen's in this one. Frontline damage dealer is Xiaolin. Backline is Hua. Not Huadam, Hua. And Hua and Brandia. That's team 1. Team 2 is Bastet, Diaz. I know it's got Lisa. It's got the twins, Sabrina, Shiner, and Fire Homunculus. What's his name? I think it's this one, yeah. So those are my 2 raid teams. But yeah, that'll be about it, right? Then it'll give you an idea about what monsters you need to build. So for my list, I got to build 64 units. This is their rating. So Jean's right at the top. Oh, no heals. Actually, you are right. What did I run as healer here? Actually, I don't run... Do I run... Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I run a healer? I don't think I ran a healer. Oh, there was a Miang. Yeah, sorry. Instead of Lisa, it's Miang. You are right. Yeah, it's Miang. Spot on. That's right. I took the runes off my Lisa. There we go. That's my cleanser and healer. I forgot about that. I actually haven't run R5 in a while. So there we go. Those are my teams. Now it's like going through your list and deciding who gets what sort of runes, right? For me, this list is a guideline and not the be-all and end-all of what monsters get what runes, right? I go through this and go, do I really believe in this list? For me, it's more or less just giving me a priority list and then me making the final decisions of who gets the better runes and who doesn't. Like Jean at the top of the list, I don't think I want to give her my best Violent Will set, for example. I do want her in Violent Will, but I don't think she's worthy of my best Violent Will set. Perna, maybe he gets my best damage dealer set. Tiana, I probably want her in my fastest Swift set. We'll see how it goes. Okeanos isn't up here, but I kind of want Okeanos to be up here, you know what I mean? It's not the be-all and end-all list, but it is something that will give you a bit of guidance on where you could use specific units. See, Okeanos is all the way down here. I don't know if I fully agree with that, but as you can see, Shina's above him. It's about having to think about, does this list give you what you want? For me personally, it gives me a good starting point to see what I want to do. Then what I would do essentially outside of this is I would probably extract this onto Excel. Well, not extract it, sorry. I would end up essentially starting to use this list alongside with Excel to list out who needs Violent, Despair, Swift, Rage, blah, 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 blah. And then draw out a list, right? So, let me see. Hold on, let me hide the screen for now. It's really bright. Okay. So I can show it on screen now. So I would go like Violent, Swift, Despair, Vamp, and so on. Who needs what runes? So Jean, Perna, Tiana would go here. And you kind of work down this list and go, who gets what? For me, a lot of my, like, it gets really heavy on the Violent side. Ammonia, Bastet, Vanessa Garo, so Vanessa. Oh my god, the brightness of this monitor is insane right now. You guys can tell every time I flick between the screens, right? Sabrina, Ritesh. So Sabrina's like, can be ad hoc. It can be whatever. We'll call it whatever. Sabrina doesn't really need a rune priority sort of thing. Ritesh probably on Violent. Zing's probably on Violent. Tessa's probably on Violent. Triana, Wusa, Diana. Triana, Wusa, Diana. Then we see Sierra, Feng Yan, Verdi. Sierra, Feng Yan. Verdi Hill for me is going to be on Swift. Shina, Lucian. So Shina can go here. Lucian. Miang. Molong 2. What else? Huadam, Sabrina. Huadam, Sabrina 2. And so on. You get the idea, right? You go through, you start allocating what sort of runes it goes on it. And then from there you can create your own list. How am I categorizing? I went through and I used the optimizing tool to allocate it to each category, which kind of gave it a weighting. So what I'm doing now is kind of splitting it based on what sort of runes I want to build on them. and then go from there. But that is essentially what would be my first few steps about how I'd go ahead and build my account. Does that make sense, guys, so far? Does anyone have any questions? Way more sophisticated? I mean, you can use the priority list. Personally, I don't worry too much about running it for every single category. I would only put in my RTA monsters and then go from there. Because my RTA monsters will kind of dictate how the rest of my units are built. I don't really worry about Guild War defense. I don't really worry about siege defense. I kind of build those after I build my RTA units. But if you want to be really efficient, then you can go through and fill out all these categories and then see what these are like. The issue about going this way, right, is that it gets you into a habit of building monsters rather than teams. So that's why I start recommending allocating them out this way as well. And then what you can do from here is also draw what do you want your teams to be, right? I don't have Fran in here, for example. I don't have Ager in here. But I can start deciding, okay, what's my main, my RTA core team? Fran, Ager, Vertihill, let's say Tessarion, Diana. Let's say that is my main team. Right? Or we'll probably say Vanessa here. Okay, we'll say that's my main team. Then it's kind of like, okay, you've got your main team. What about a certain unit to style? What's your backup? So I'm going to go Okeanos. I'm going to go Tessarion here. Say Perna. Wusa. So my replacement for Fran will be like Wusa. Ager. If they take Ager, then I've got Diana there. If they take Diana, then I've got all these fire units. What else could be my backup water damage dealer? It could be like Chilling. Could be like Theomars even. And so on, right? You start drawing it out. Then you talk about speed tuning, right? For me, my goals that I aim for is 240 plus for my immunity and strippers. That's really bland, right? My strippers are probably at, like, single target strippers will be around 235 to 245. My AoE strippers like Tiana, Chiwu and whatnot, if I was to use Chiwu, would be around 280 to 300. Immunity itself would be around 300 for Swift or 245 on Violent Will. But that's to give a bit of a guideline. Then for me, 228-ish to about 239 is my enablers. I use the term enablers a lot, but this effectively means units that armor break, units that enable other units to do things. I.e. Vanessa, armor break into nuke, Ager, strip into Vanessa, armor break, etc. Or like, that could be like, Chilling into Tessarion, into nuke. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So 228 to 239. So what that's telling me is that to be able to enable my team, that's what I want it to be. My damage dealers will be anywhere from 215 to 228. All my threats. So that's what I would aim for, right? Damage dealers or threats. This, for me, personally, this excludes Diana because of her passive. Okay? That's the reason why I would put it separately. Other ad hoc units would be like units like Okeanos, which for me would be swift and as fast as possible. Vertihill, which would be tanky, decent speed, and probably on revenge. And so on, right? So hopefully it gives you a bit of an idea about what goes through my head when I'm building my teams. Immunity strippers over 240, enablers at 228 to 240 or 239, and then damage dealers from anywhere from 215 to 228. The reasoning behind a lot of this is around ensuring that you're speed tuned, but then you've also given yourself a benchmark of where you're aiming to get your units to without getting cut as well, right? So when I'm building this, I want to go my Tessa at 228, my Perna has to be 227. I don't want to get cut between those two units. Okay? Whereas a unit like Ager, I don't mind it being at 235. Because I might want to put my Vanessa in between at 232 or something, you know what I mean? Like that's what kind of goes through my head. So for me, when I'm doing a lot of this is kind of like refreshing what I did last free rune removal. Oh yeah, be mindful of the speed tuning, of course. I'm talking about like total speed. But then I also would run the optimizing test as well. So what I'll do is, there is a speed tuning test you could do here. You can go like, let's say Vanessa. I can't click it, it's not working. Slow. Oh, the online thing can be a bit dodgy sometimes. You're frozen? Oh, there you go, Vanessa. Tessa. My Perna's slower than what I said, by the way. And then Perna. So runner speed lead. Perna's 274. So he's a little bit too fast for my Thessarion right now. Right this very minute. Which is a fail. But a lot of the times when I'm running this, I don't have all three of these in the same team. Yo, what's up Hyperion Sword? Thank you for the resub. I don't usually run them in the same team anyway. The only way he'll get outsped is if it's due to me running Vanessa lead. But I barely have all three of these in the same team. But as you can tell, they're pretty tightly tuned, right? I can run Sierra as well and see. It shouldn't be outspeeding. Same spot. See, same spot. So it depends on your picking order. I don't usually pick Perna till really late nowadays, if anything. But yeah. To give you an idea of how tight you want to try tune your monsters. So that would be what I would usually do day one. Is really, well, day one / day two. Even day three sometimes. A lot of times it's really just trying to build the team you want to build, right? Start thinking about your units you want to build. Obviously it's a lot more complicated when you are late game and you're focusing on really end game content. When you are early game, your focus, let's clean it up, right? Let me hide the screen for a sec. So now I'm going to do it from the point of view of an early game player, right? I've recently just started farming giants for 3 months. I've fused my Pheromos and my Bella. I've been farming, yeah, giant speed 10. I've got my Sigmaris and I've got a Vertihill now. And now I want to work towards building a Dragons team, right? So, what am I going to do? I'm going to build my Giants team first. So I'm going to go Veramos. Bella. Bernard. Shannon. And let's say Sigmaris. Okay? And then, hold on, I need to start this Wind Rift team again. And then, from there, I want to start focusing on my Dragons team, which I want it to be Vertihill. I want it to be Veramos, Bella, Megan, Sig. Right, you probably don't need to use the priority tool as an early game player. Because you probably know what monsters you want to prioritize. But this will tell you what you need to overlap with in terms of runes, right? This isn't for me, Sam. This is for me spelling out for newer players, okay? If I was a new player, what would I prioritize? So these will be my key units. So, for me personally, I would look at Bella with my best violence set, aiming for 55 accuracy. Then, with Veramos, I would go, again, violent and focus, right? Aim for 55 accuracy. Megan, 55 accuracy. Shannon, Bernard, I wouldn't worry about them too much. Shannon can go on a Despair set, Bernard and Megan on a Swift set. And Sigmaris can go on any set almost. It doesn't have to be a complete set, it can be broken set. He's one of those that you probably want stats over sets. You can probably get away with Bernard on stats over sets as well. So yeah, the idea is kind of going through it and having a look at how you want to build your team, right? So then what you want to do is have a look at your basic stats. There's a lot of details out there about basic stats you need to run. But a lot of the times I'll say Bella, Veramos, 180 speed. Violence. 55 accuracy. 20,000 HP, 1,000 defense, something like that. You know what I mean? Vertihill will be the slowest in your team. So by slowest, it has to be after Sig. So Sig, where you might want to go like speed, crit damage, HP, or speed, crit damage, attack. Megan can be the fastest with like accuracy, like swift focus set, depending on what sort of rings you have available. It's all about just trying to start building your team. Again, you don't need the focus sets, because this will help you determine if you can find the sets you want. So FRR day for an early game player is actually pretty quick. You end up just going into the optimizing section, picking the monster that you want to focus on. So let's say Veramos. You want to go Violent. If you don't have Violent, you can go Swift. Okay. Violent or Swift focus, go Speed, HP and probably Defense. Defense and HP. Aim for that 55 accuracy, which is probably the minimum you want to aim for. Focus on Speed, HP, Defense, and accuracy. Set it to 180 speed, to the minimum speed that you're after. And then, you might want to untick the box that says use only runes from inventory. That'll give you a few more options. And then you hit run. Okay, so we got 104,000 builds. And then from there, usually for me, I would have a look at effective HP. Especially early game or PvE units, effective HP is probably what you'd want to aim for rather than efficiency, or either or, it doesn't really matter. The results should be very similar, right? Effective HP, so it gets tankier for me personally. Efficiency doesn't always give you the best effective HP. So as you can see, 248,000 effective HP, or most efficient at 101.8% at 213,000 effective HP. So it's all about just looking at it. You could do the plus 15 as well, Sam, but I would recommend as an early game player, you probably want either plus 12 or plus 15, or go with actual stats. The reason why as an early game player I wouldn't really like to do plus 15 is because they may not have the mana to be able to upgrade their runes as well. But I mean, it is an option that you can do, switching it to plus 15, so it gives you a view, because it may not give you, you may have slot 2 speed runes that you haven't upgraded yet. So you might want to use that as a backup option as well. Anyway, pick the best build, Violent Focus, and then all you do is click on the build that you want, hit equip, hit lock. I did it the wrong way around. I probably should have started with Bella first. Yeah, Sam, I know it is to optimize. I understand 100%. But I'll say as an early game player, it's probably best to look at both views. If you don't have your mana, then what's the point as well? There's no point trying to run a unit at plus 15, but this is where you should be doing a cleanup beforehand. And then running it like this. Run it both ways, to be fair. So this is the build that you would get. I'm going to go Violent Focus right here. So these will be the runes I'll end up running on my Veramos and Bella, for example. But yeah, you go through, you build your teams. You can take however long you want to do before FRR day. You can do all this process way beforehand and then go from there. But the idea is use this tool to be able to help support what goes through your head. And things that you can't do in the game, you can do in this tool up front. Things like playing around with builds, playing around with understanding how deep your runes can go. You can do all that up front by using the optimizing tool, right? It's not scary to use. It is pretty straightforward. I've done a guide on how you can use it before. Play around with it, see how you go. Me personally, I enjoy using it because it makes it easier. It puts whatever's in my head on paper, helps me bring up stats that I would like to aim for on my units. Does what my head should be doing is work. It does it for me. So I just sit back, I get it to build what I want it to build. It builds my teams for me and then go from there. But you need to have the right mindset for you to be able to do all this as well. So keep that in mind when you go through and do all this. But yeah, effectively that's part 1 of this, right? I'm gonna leave it there for now. And I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna start opening up questions to Twitch chat. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I've just spoken about for the last hour? Pretty much. But yeah. Oh, my team just failed again? No, it didn't. It gets really close though. How does priority lists work? So, Avas, I went through that really quickly before. Priority lists work off a weighting system, right? So you see down here, oh sorry, I gotta click the screen. You see down here, each of the dungeons or aspects of the game are given a weighting. You can put whatever number you want in there, I believe. You can put whatever number you want in there. Oh, that's a decent rune. You can put whatever number you want in there to be able to weight it towards what you want it to weight towards. And then all you do is you pick those dungeons or aspects of the game and you put your monsters that you use in those aspects in, and then it does the weighting for you. It'll give it a ranking of what deserves, or it essentially builds you a list of monsters in the list that you should be building it, right? It's not the be all and end all for me personally, because it might tell me that yes, I use this monster in a lot of places, but hey, it doesn't need the best runes. So you don't need to always build it first in that way. Always build the monsters that are really rune intensive. So like for me before, I had Jean at the top. That's not a rune intensive monster for me personally. Vanessa's a rune intensive monster. Diana's a rune intensive monster. Chandra's a rune intensive monster. Where's the program calculates the times the enemy procs? Lols. That's where it all goes to hell. Surely it's easy just to figure out the priority list. It is, Sam. It is. It definitely is. I wouldn't use this. I wouldn't recommend using this unless you're lost in terms of PvE content, if PvE is still your priority. For me personally, when I'm trying to build monsters, it's mainly built for RTA or PvP compositions first. So for me, I don't use the priority list as a be all and an end all. For me, it's for me to essentially list out all my RTA monsters, and I look at that list and then work through it from there and go, okay, well, what do I want to give runes to this time round, and then go from there. What worked last month for me? What's not working last month for me? Where do I need to tweak my teams? Who deserves better runes? Who did I have on will before? Sorry, who didn't I have on will before that needs will runes, and so on like that. That's what goes through my head when I go through this process. So hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, in terms of Zunda, in terms of like calculating for enemy procs, when it comes to like Guild War content and when it comes to arena content, for me personally, like Guild War specifically, I would try rune my monsters to be able to take at least 1 or 2 procs. If your monsters can survive 1 or 2 procs because it's on will runes, for example, and you don't get armor broken, then you should be relatively safe to be able to run that team, because you're not really, unless it goes really bad and they proc 3 times and you sit there and you just shake your head and go, well, what can I do? The odds of that happening is really low. But if you're planning to only survive 1 proc, then you're getting yourself in a lot of trouble. What I'm doing right now is getting myself in a lot of trouble. I'm showing my failing Wind Rift teams right now. The reason why this team is going really bad right now is because I changed my team. I'm running way too much. I farmed way too much wind. Okay. But yeah. Let me just jump into dragons. And it goes back to what you said at the start. You know your rune's better than anyone else. Exactly right. You put the time in to farm. You know what sort of runes you farmed in the last month. You farmed what you need to farm in the last month. And you know what improvements you've potentially made to your account before you've even made them. You know what I mean? Especially as an early game player, 1 month of farming is a lot of progress right there. Sometimes you can switch runes out early on, but you get to a point where it starts costing too much, and you're best just waiting for an FRR day, especially if your runs are still consistent, and you're not going to be able to substantially change your run times. If you're changing your run times from like 2 minutes 30 to 1 minute 30, make those changes mid-month. You're cutting a whole minute off, you're making your runs 40% faster, so why not? But if you're looking at minimal changes like 1 minute 30 to 1 minute 25, then it's probably not worthwhile. 1 month of farming, you probably only get 2 to 3 legit runes. Sam, that's for us though, right? If you're talking about someone that's still in a G1 farming guild, they're probably getting 15 runes that they can upgrade on their units, you know what I mean? Whereas for us, it's a bit harder. Yeah. Pretty much, but for new game it'll be 2 to 3 legit and dozen of usable. Exactly right. Exactly right. But yeah, if there's no more questions, guys, I'm gonna cut the video off there for YouTube. So thank you guys. I will post a more comprehensive video, but this is the Twitch component of what we spoke about in terms of FRR planning. I'll do a short, sharp video that will end up on YouTube, probably be 10 to 15 minutes long. Essentially just what we spoke about today, but in a nutshell. I'll explain it and we'll go from there. So anyway, I'll see you all next time.